What is going on, everybody? Crazy Dog back with some more breaking Cleveland Guardians news for you guys. Of course, earlier today I made a video talking about Tanner Bybee getting an extension. And now Chris Antoinetti went out and made a trade. And I'll be honest, I had a hunch something else was going to happen today. And it turns out my hunch was correct, as just a little while ago, Jeff Passan broke the news on Twitter, and I quote, "Trade news. The Cleveland Guardians are sending infielder Tyler Freeman to the Colorado Rockies for outfielder Nolan Jones." So how about that, huh? Guardians are bringing back Nolan Jones, sources tell ESPN. Freeman should play a lot with the Rockies, and Jones came up in the Cleveland organization and is headed back for a second stint. Of course, for those who remember, we traded Nolan Jones to the Rockies a few years ago for Juan Brito. So that should be interesting, right? Juan and Nolan Jones seeing each other in the same clubhouse, playing for the same team after they were in the same trade a few years ago, right? Of course, Juan Brito came here. We sent Nolan Jones out. And yeah, it'd be nice to see Nolan Jones back in a Guardians uniform. Of course, you look at what he did when he was with the Guardians. In 2022, only played in 28 games. He didn't really do much. He had 2 homers, 13 RBIs. Too bad. I'm pretty sure his first home run is still in the fountain at Kauffman Stadium. I'm pretty sure that ball is still in the fountain. Was it ever confirmed that they got it out? I don't even know. Who knows how many balls are in that fountain right now? I mean, damn. So you look at his background and stuff. Of course, he's still relatively young. He's 26. He'll be 27 in May. So that by the time the season really gets going, he'll be 27. And of course, he was drafted by the Indians/Guardians in the second round of the 2016 MLB June amateur draft out of high school. So yeah, he bypassed college to go right to the major leagues, or at least pro ball. It took him a little while to get into the major leagues, but yeah, the Guardians drafted him out of high school, and it's been pretty good. Now, he went to Colorado in 2023, and he went crazy. As you see, 106 games, scored 60 runs, had 109 hits, 22 doubles, 4 triples, 20 homers. I wonder how many of those were at Coors Field, right? I heard he was hitting nukes at Coors Field. Yep. And of course, he had 62 RBIs, 20 stolen bases. Only got caught 4 times. And he had 126 Ks, but that comes with the territory. And of course, as you see on the far right, he finished 4th in Rookie of the Year voting in 2023. Now, 2024, only played in 79 games. He managed to only get 3 homers, 28 RBIs, 5 stolen bases. I know he's been dealing with quite a few injuries so far in his career, so hopefully he can stay healthy and we can really see him blossom back in Cleveland. I'm sure it'll be nice for him to be back in a place that he's familiar with. Now, the biggest question is, what does this do for the Guardians in terms of who the heck is playing second base? So you look at our depth chart at second base right now, we have Gabriel Arias and Daniel Schneemann. Now, Gabe has been playing really well in spring training, so I think he'll be the starting second baseman come opening day on Thursday. Daniel Schneemann will probably play every once in a while, most likely, matchups and stuff. Of course, Juan Brito, I believe, was sent to AAA, so we're not going to see him for a little while. And then, of course, you have Travis Bazzana, who's lurking as well now. So, yeah, all of a sudden, we thought, oh, we cleared up the second base logjam. That logjam will be back again because eventually Brito is going to be back up here. You're going to have Schneemann, Arias, and then Bazzana. What the heck are you going to do? Now, what about Nolan Jones? Where does he play? Well, Baseball Reference says he plays left field and first base. So, at first base right now, you have, of course, Carlos Santana, Kyle Manzardo, every once in a while, John Kenzie Noel. And you'll even have David Fry eventually when he comes back. Of course, he had surgery, so he'll be out for a while. Now, what about left field? Yeah, I don't see him playing left field too much because that's Stephen Kwan's territory. Of course, every once in a while, Stephen Kwan has to have a day off. He's not going to play every freaking game. But, I mean, other than that, you have Will Brennan. Yeah, give me Nolan Jones over Will Brennan every day of the week. Now, as far as what move we could see coming up next, speaking of Will Brennan, I could see him getting dealt. Because the outfield, the logjam is now even bigger. Because you have Jonk, Daniel, Lane, Will, Steven, and, any other prospects like George Valera. He's still here, by the way, although I think he was on a non-roster, so I don't know what's going to happen with him. But on the 40-man, though, let's see how deep our outfield is on the 40-man. So you have Petey Halpin, Angel Martinez, and J-Rod. So, yeah, the outfield is pretty deep, especially in the minors, too. And who knows? There might be some other guys who pop in there as well from like AA and, everything else. Well, this is going to be an interesting season, and I'm all the way here for it. So, before I do head out, though, we got to take a look at Nolan's Baseball Savant page. Now, of course, he didn't really play much last year, but you see what his graph would have looked like had he did play enough games. Of course, arm strength is elite, which means he'll fit right in the outfield at Progressive Field. You see his speed, pretty good. He can fly around the bases, which is nice. His range is not great, though, as you see on fielding. Arm value is pretty good. Yep, his strikeout percentage. Yeah, he can work on that a little bit, I think. Right? I mean, let's see what else we got here. Hard hit percentage, he can mash, of course. Couple reds, quite a few blues. Some, light blue, near gray, which means mid. So, yeah, he has stuff to work on. But you know what gives me hope? We no longer have the baseball terrorist known as Chris Valaika here. It's funny, though. Chris Valaika leaves, and all of a sudden, the offense looks good so far in spring training. Although, I will say, last year, the offense was pretty good. Once they figured out that hitting the ball up and out means more homers, right? We weren't relying solely on grounders and derp ball. Once they figured out, how to hit homers and stuff and actually, hit with more ferocity instead of just trying to hit everything. That's what they were trying to do before, right? When Valaika first got here to be our hitting coach, taking over for Van Berkeley, this dude really told the guys, yeah, just try to make contact. Swing at everything and just try to make contact, regardless of where it goes. But now it's pick your stuff, right? Pick your spot. And if they throw it at that spot, you mash that sucker. And look what happened. We damn near had a guy go for a 40-40 season. But no, Mother Nature said, no, no, no. Of course, the Astros had to prepare for their wild card series against the Tigers. Yeah, of course. Just our luck. Freaking Mother Nature. Always getting in the way. Damn it. Oh, well, I'm not going to be too mad about that. But I am very excited to see what the Guardians do this year. You know, it was kind of a usual quiet off season. Just had an extension for Tanner Bybee. And this is another year closer to David Blitzer taking over as majority owner of the Guardians. So that's good. But that's all I got for you guys. As always, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell. And once again, I'll see you guys tomorrow for Cavs and Jazz at 3:30 p.m. Maybe not playing at essentially like 7 o'clock West time when these guys have been so used to playing on the East time zone for so long. Maybe they'll lock in and they'll actually play really well. And hopefully we can actually go out there and win because going to bed at 1 a.m. after a loss is tough, right? Having to sit here and watch my team lose, going into the next day, it's tough. It's a tough way to end your day, right? So hopefully we go out there and actually play a serious brand of basketball. And I need Donovan Mitchell to lock the heck in, right? He's out here talking about, yeah, blame me, blame me. Well, I mean, you're kind of part of the problem, but you're just out here chucking up shots, bro. Come on now. We got to be better here. But yeah, with that being said, I'm Crazy Dog. Let's go, Guardians. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Yeah.